Hello there, everybody. Today I'm going to give you a little introduction to the SolidWorks workspace, getting started with the program, how to manipulate parts, how to edit parts, create parts, edit parts, and just make some simple stuff like cylinders and cubes and holes and things. So after you open up SolidWorks, you may or may not have a window that pops up here, and if you do, it'll probably say new and part about right there. If that window doesn't pop up, we can go up here and do the same thing. If yours popped up there, that's fine. Go ahead and just click new and part. For me, I'll go ahead and go up there. This pops up, says part, hit OK, and there it is. Alright, so this window over here may or may not be in your way. If it's popped out like this and you want to get rid of it, I would just click there on the edge of it. You see how it makes the double arrows, and drag that out of your way. So here's the SolidWorks user interface. This is the workspace here. We talked a little bit about what this stuff was yesterday. What I'm going to do for you, and I don't want you to do this now, I just want you to watch. I'm going to create a simple cylinder, and we may have done this yesterday, but go ahead and do it again. It's good practice. There's two ways you can start creating a cylinder. You can either start from a feature or you can start from a sketch. I prefer to start with features. It's just how I learned it. Our textbook teaches us how to do it by starting with a sketch. I prefer starting with a feature simply because when you click feature, this pops up. Then you can click which plane you want, and then it will take you normal to or straight on that plane. If you select sketch, then then you have to select the plane, but then you have to move there manually normal to yourself. SolidWorks doesn't automatically make you face that plane straight on. You look at it crooked until you change your view up here to be whatever plane you started working on. So let's draw I'm going to draw a circle first. Like I said, I don't want you guys to do this. Just sit there and watch for a minute. I'm going to draw a circle. I've already selected my feature. I told it I'm going to do an Extrude Boss. That means I'm going to pull out a three-dimensional shape from a 2D sketch. So here's a circle tool. You'll notice that when I hover over the origin, a little green ball pops up at the origin, and that's how you know you're on the origin. You also can see a little yellow box on the right, and that tells you that you're clicking on something of significance. And you'll notice that there's no box out here, so there's nothing of significance out here. So it's called the geometric relation. I'm going to drag this circle out. You'll notice those numbers on the right of my cursor. Radius of 3.49, those are for reference only. I never even pay attention to those because they're useless. In my opinion, they don't really make any, there's nothing to use them for because you have to define it with a smart dimension. So I'm just going to drag out my circle. And I have a circle. You'll notice that it's blue. And you'll see down here at the bottom of the screen it says under defined. What that means is SolidWorks doesn't know how big this circle should be. It knows how big it is currently, and I could change this to radius of 5, but that doesn't change that it's still blue. I'm just zooming in and out with my mouse wheel here. We need a smart dimension, so I'm going to go up here and grab a smart dimension, and I am going to click on the edge of the circle, and I'm going to drag out a dimension, and let's make it a ½ inch. Okay, now I have a circle with a ½ inch diameter. There's the symbol for diameter, so we know it's a ½ inch diameter. If yours says greater than, mod, less than, or actually it would be a less than sign, mod, greater than, diameter. I know there's one or two computers in here. That just means that your computer is missing the diameter symbol, and it's fine. Everything is okay. Nothing's wrong. Just let me know and we'll fix it. So the diameter symbol there tells us we have a ½ inch diameter circle. What we're going to do now is turn that into a cylinder. I already selected the Extrude Boss Space feature, so I'm going to click this blue arrow on the right. When I do that, you'll see that the text is highlighted over here. You don't need to click over here. You don't need to delete it. All you simply need to do is just type in 10 and hit enter twice. All right. Now there's my cylinder. Now I can move my screen, I can move my orientation around this object manually by holding in the mouse wheel and moving up, moving right, moving left, moving down, and I can see all sorts of different angles. I can zoom out, I can zoom in with the mouse wheel. If you hold Control on the keyboard and hold down the mouse wheel button and go left and right, up and down, you can pan around the image. So that is Control CTRL on the keyboard, and you can then pan around your image. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you guys how you can edit this. Still don't want you to do anything, just watch. So over here on the left, you'll see where it says Boss Extrude 1. It says Boss Extrude because Boss Extrude is the feature that I use to create this cylinder. It says 1 because it's the first Boss Extrude that I've done. If I did another Boss Extrude, the name would be Boss Extrude 2. Even if you close out of this Boss Extrude or you delete this Boss Extrude, the next Boss Extrude is still going to be called Boss Extrude 2. You can change the name by clicking on it, and then you can change the name just like that. You know, it doesn't really matter unless you get into a complex drawing where you have all sorts of features. Then you're going to want to start naming them. You'll see if I click this down arrow, it says Sketch 1. It simply says Sketch 1 because it's my first sketch. If you do another sketch, it'll be Sketch 2. Just the same as the naming worked for the features. Now let's just say that I made a mistake and the diameter of the circle was supposed to be 1. You can fix that. It's very simple. There's two different ways you can go about it. If you right click on cylinder, you'll have the option to edit the sketch, or you'll have the option to edit the feature. You can also click the down arrow and right click on sketch 1 and go to edit sketch. There's really, it's a lot more simple to just right click on cylinder and then go to edit sketch, but both are the same button, you'll notice. Okay, so I'm going to click Edit Sketch, and then to change the dimension, it's simple. All you got to do is click on the Smart Dimension there, and let's just say I want to make it 1, so I just delete that, 1, Enter. All right. Now, if you double click on the Smart Dimension itself, you can actually get back into the Modify box. That's not something that we're going to need to really mess with until later in the course, but if you just click on it once, it brings up this, and you can just change it then to whatever you need to. You double click and it'll bring up the modify box. There we go. Okay, so that's how you can edit a sketch. To then get out of that sketch, you click the blue arrow and you still have your cylinder. It is just now 1 inch in diameter. If you needed to edit the feature, it's very similar to editing the sketch. You right click on your feature, you go to edit feature, and then you can just change whatever you want it, you know, however long you want it. So let's just change it to 5. Alright, enter. Uh-oh. I don't want centimeters. Be careful. You don't have to put units after it. It's automatically in inches as long as your drawing is set up in inches. But if for some reason you were doing something in inches and you wanted to change one dimension, make one dimension a metric, you could do that by just simply adding the metric symbol after it. So there, I just typed in 5, hit enter, automatically it's in inches, hit enter again. Alright, so now we have a 1 inch by 5 inch cylinder. Alright, cool. Alright, so let's go ahead and try that. I'll go a little bit slower this time. You guys can do it with me. I'm going to go ahead and just close my drawing, and I'm going to go to New, Part. Okay, so here we go. Features tab, Extrude Boss Base. Feel free to pause this video and then pick it back up. You're going to select the front plane, and when you do that, it'll automatically, then you'll be drawing in the front plane. grab a circle tool. If you accidentally draw a circle in the wrong spot and you realize it, you can hit escape on the keyboard and it will disappear. You just have to reselect the circle. If you draw a circle in the wrong space but you don't realize it until you draw it and you hit escape, now the circle is there and you can't get rid of it. What you have to do is you just select the edge, hit the delete key above the arrow keys, not the backspace key, not the delete key over by the number pad, but the delete key above the arrow keys, and then it'll disappear. And it doesn't work if you don't hit the right delete key, it won't go anywhere. Alright, you can see how you can do that, right? Alright, so then you want to draw it on the axis where 0, 0, 0 is, the origin, and you know you're on the origin because you see that little ball pop up. Alright, so we'll just drag that out. Again, remember, don't pay any attention to the radius over there. You just click, let go of the mouse button, click, let go of the mouse button, boom, you got a circle. Smart dimension. Grab your smart dimension and click on the edge of the circle. Click to place it. Let's put in, I don't know, let's just do a 10-inch circle again, or yeah, not a 10-inch, a half-inch. Okay, so I just typed in 0.5, I hit enter. If I hit enter again, nothing happens. Go up to the blue arrow, and now I'm in my feature because we already selected our feature as an Extrude Boss before we drew our circle, so it knows what we're doing next. Over here, you'll see you have your area for you to put your inches in. It's very simple. You don't have to click here. You don't have to delete this. You just simply put in the dimension you want. We're going to make it 10 inches long. Just type 10. You don't have to click it. It's already there. It drives me crazy when I see people click on it and then individually delete each number. Alright, you just type 10, hit enter, enter. Boom. There you go. You got a cylinder. Alright. Cool. Now, let's just say for some reason you drew your sketch and you got a circle. What do you do? Uh-oh. Okay, it's fine. You're just going to go to Extrude Boss Base and click on the circle. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. You're back in the game. Alright, so you can just select Extrude Boss Base, select the edge of the circle. Doesn't work if you click in the middle. Gotta select the edge of the circle, bada bing, bada boom. Alright, cool. Alright, so let's go ahead and change the orientation of our cylinder. We're just going to look at the front of it, we'll look at the top view of it, we'll look at the right side of it. To do that, we'll just go up here to the top. The heads up toolbar, you can change it to the top view. You even get a little preview there what that's going to look like. Okay, when you do this it might be a little different. You see this view selector box? This lets you then click on which view you want. I hate it, drives me nuts. It wasn't around when I learned SolidWorks, and when it's on a computer I immediately turn it off just because, I don't know, it's annoying. I just want to look at these. I'm just used to this. So if you want to turn this off, go ahead. You just turn it off by clicking that. If you want to leave it on, that's totally up to you. Just when I come to your computer and I'm helping you out, I'm going to turn it off. Alright, so we can just change to our front view, top view, right side view. You can change to an isometric. Then you can change to a dimetric. You can change to a trimetric. Okay, so go ahead and just play around with those, pause the video, play around with those, see how those work, get familiar with them. These over here, this is going to change your display style. If you click on that, you can change it so that you don't have black lines showing you the edges of your part. You can also change it so that you have a wireframe so that all you see is the lines. You can also change it so that you have a wireframe with hidden lines, and now you can see your hidden lines. Kinda cool, right? And you can also change it to wireframe so that even the hidden lines are shown, and I'm not a big fan of this one. I don't really ever use it. I'm sure there's an application, but it's not one for me. So I like to be in this view here. That's just more of a visual representation of what the part looks like for me, and it also displays the lines. Then I know exactly where shapes start and stop. Alright, cool. So that's how you do that. Alright, go ahead and pause the video and practice that. Then we'll draw a cube. Alright, so to draw a cube, I'm just going to click Don't Save. I don't need to save that. I'm going to go up to a new part. Alright, now here at this point, just watch. Don't do this, just watch. Okay, so if I'm going to draw a cube, I'm going to go to Features, Extrude Boss Base. I'm going to select my front plane, and I'm going to go up here to the Center Rectangle tool. There's different ways to draw rectangles, but for what we're going to do right now, we're just going to grab a center rectangle. Again, I'm going to click on the origin, click, drag out my rectangle. I'm going to use a smart dimension then, and I'm going to click on the top line. Oh, let's just make this a 6 by 6 by 6 cube. So 6, enter. I'm going to now dimension the right. Notice that this is blue and this is blue. These are not blue because SolidWorks knows exactly where those lines need to be. But these ones are blue because SolidWorks doesn't exactly know where those lines need to be. You can also notice you can move your shape around too. 6. Alright, cool. So there we got a 6 by 6 square. Now again, if I'm making it's 6 over here, I'm just going to enter 6. You don't need to click over there. You don't need to delete it. You just hit 6, enter, enter, bada bing, bada boom. You got a 6-inch cube. Okay, zoom in, zoom out to place it. That's just how I prefer to move things. You could, like I said, hold control and then just move it around like that too, if that's what you're comfortable with. Alright, so this, if you change to the front view, the top view, right side view, it's a cube. It's going to look the same no matter which way you look at it. You change to an isometric. There, it looks like that. There, that's isometric. And here's your isometric view of that. Alright. So this edits the same way as the other one. If you want to edit it, you just right click on Extrude 1 and you click Edit Feature or Edit Sketch, whatever you want to do, and then you can go back in and you can change things. So go ahead and pause the video, open up a new drawing if you haven't already. Whoops, I don't want to save that. Pause the video, open up a new drawing if you haven't already, and we're just going to go to File, New, Part. Okay, so let's do this together. Extrude Boss Base, select the front plane. If you click the right plane, top plane, it doesn't really matter. Right now we're just practicing, so if you click the wrong one, don't worry about it. It doesn't make a difference for what we're doing right now. We're going to grab the rectangle tool, the center rectangle tool, and we're going to click on the origin, click, let go of the button, move the mouse, click again. Now you have a box. Smart dimension, top line, 6 and 6. Alright, go ahead and do that. Alright, so after you have a 6 by 6 square, you're going to hit the blue arrow in the upper right hand corner. Just going to enter 6, and you're going to have a 6-inch cube. Preview, hit it again, and you will have a 6-inch by 6-inch by 6-inch cube. Bada bing, bada boom, there you go. Alright. Cool, well, so you understand how to do an Extrude Boss base, but there's another feature called an Extrude Cut. And what an Extrude Cut does is instead of creating a three-dimensional part or adding to a three-dimensional part, you're removing from a part. So you can't start a drawing, you can't start a part with an extruded cut because there's nothing to cut away. You have to have a solid part in order to be able to cut something away. So let's just grab this extruded cut up here. Actually, just watch. I'm going to grab this extruded cut up here, and look what it asks. It says select a plane, a planar face, or an edge on which to sketch the feature cross section. If you click this drop down arrow right here, you'll see it lists the front plane, the top plane, and the right plane. You'll notice they get highlighted when I hover over their name. Okay, you could select one of those. That is a plane. Okay, that's what it's saying. Select a plane or a planar face. Okay, so these are all planar faces. All 6 sides of this cube will work as a planar face. So I'm just going to click the front one. Okay, now you'll notice that if you draw here, you're going to be looking at it crooked. It doesn't affect the actual part itself. It's just if you mentally can wrap your head around that or not. So just to simplify this, let's just go up here to the heads up toolbar and change to your front view. So I'm going to extrude cut a hole through this. So I could do a square hole, I could do a rectangular hole, I could use the line tool to draw a triangular hole, whatever. Let's just grab the square tool and center rectangle tool. Click on the origin, let go of the button, click again to place it, smart dimension. Alright, now both of these squares are centered on the origin. I can dimension the size of this square to be whatever I want, so like 4 and 4, and that's fine, that works. Okay, because this is a 6 by 6 cube on the outside. Now this is a 4 by 4 square here in the middle. Another way that you could dimension this as well, if you found, if there was some reason you would want to do this, you can dimension from the square on the inside to the square on the outside as well. Alright, so now you see the distance between the outside of the cube to the new square that I'm drawing is 0.975. You can change that to 1 if you want. And now this line is 1 inch away from this line. You can do the same thing for the top if you want. So there's just another way that you could dimension this. You could do a mixture of both. If you wanted to, you could say, okay, well, yep, there, that one's 1 inch, and that one's 1 inch, or you could click on there and make it 4. Oops, no, actually that would be, oh yeah, that works. So yeah. Cool. Alright, so you'll see I'm fully defined. Why don't you guys go ahead and pause the video and catch up to this point. Alright, so now to do the extrude cut, I'm going to hit this blue arrow, and you'll see over here it says 6 inches. It says 6 inches. So already, because it's assuming I want to cut it all the way through the part, you have different options here. You could change that to 5, and you'll see it won't cut all the way through the part. You can change that to like 0.5, and you'll see it hardly cuts into the part. You also have the option of just going through all. Through all is a good option to have if for some reason you thought that you might end up changing how big this 6 by 6 by 6 cube is. Say you wanted to change it to 7, and you go in and you edit this cube and you make this 6 by 6 by 6 cube 7 deep instead of 6. If you have through all selected, then when you finish editing this cube, this one will change to match your new length. If you have this set to 6, if you edit this cube, it will stay at 6, and then you'll have to go in and then edit this hole to make it go all the way through. So if I'm going to put a hole through the whole thing, I'm always going to select through all because I don't want to have to go back and change my hole if I change my overall part. So I'm just going to select through all and hit the green check mark. All right, and then you can rotate your square to check that out. Rotate your cube to check that out. Pretty cool, huh? Alright. Well, I think that should be about enough for today. If you guys get this far and you're successful and you understand this, awesome. If you don't, rewatch the video and try this stuff again. If you are done and you're successful, I would like to see you try to do some other stuff. Why don't you try to extrude a cylinder on the top of this, and then after you extrude a cylinder off the top of your cube, then why don't you try to extrude cut a hole, circular hole all the way through all the way through the part. Or you could try to extrude cut a hole that goes from the top of your cylinder you make to here and stops in there. You know, mess around with it, get comfortable with it, try some different stuff, draw some things, you know, find something and try to create something. You know, mess around with it. We're going to be using it a lot, so just play with it and get comfortable.